Oh, hey, sorry. Mark Lanier with your video thought for the day. I was getting a drink and, I was trying to figure out, do I drink like this or do I drink with my hands? Of course, if Becky saw me, she'd tell me to get a glass, but I am doing this. Why, you ask? Because it's time for your video thought for the day. And this week is the concluding week to my examination of the 10 principles of living, successful living, that Admiral McRaven gave in both the book and his lecture. My buddy Richard challenged me to look at those and to see whether or not each one was biblical, and if so, what the biblical counterpart might be. And I've enjoyed and personally benefited from the first 5. And today is number 6. If you missed the last 5, go back to last week. It's all there on YouTube. So number 6, Admiral McRaven talks about how there were several obstacle courses that had to be run during SEAL training. And that the Navy SEALs kept track of how quickly, what the world record was for each obstacle course. And it seems that the record had stuck there for a long time when Admiral McRaven was there with his class. And some fella went to the obstacle course and did it entirely wrong. He went head first across this expanse when you're supposed to historically do it feet first as you crawl your way across. Seems dangerous to do it head first, but he smashed the record because he just went after it. And the principle behind this was, don't be afraid to fail. Now, I like that principle. And I think that's a biblical principle if we recognize that failure in the world's eyes may be different than failure in God's eyes. Because the Christian position of faith is one where what we need to do is discern the will of God and do it. And trust God with the consequences. I was reminded, as listening to Admiral McRaven, I was reminded of the story in Judges chapter 6 and 7, where the Israelites have been under the oppression of the Midianites and the Amalekites for years, 7 years, as a punishment from God, because the Israelites are worshiping Baal and Ashtoreth and Asherah and others, and the idolatry had caused God to bring judgment upon the people. So God comes to Gideon and says, I'm going to use you to rescue the people. Now, Gideon might just have said, no, I'm not going to do that. That's utter failure. In fact, he started out by saying, don't you want to talk to someone else? My clan is the lesser of all of the clans of the tribe of Manasseh. So you're like coming to the wrong clan. And furthermore, even within our clan, I'm like way down on the totem pole. So you got the wrong guy in the wrong clan. This is not going to be successful. And God said, the reason it's going to be successful is because I, God, am doing it. Gideon said, I need to make sure you're God. How do I know for sure you're God? And then once he finds out through testing that God is indeed the one sending this message, Gideon's all in. So Gideon gathers up 32,000 people, Israelites, to go fight the Midianites. And God says to him, nah, you got way too many. So you tell them anybody that's afraid of fighting, they can leave now. Gideon does so. The 32,000 drops to 10,000 left. 22,000 just left. God says, still too many. You take an army of 10,000 out there and you beat them and everybody's going to say you won instead of God. He says, I want you to reduce it down further. Go down to the spring down there, the water that I'm going to point you to, and have the men drink the water. Hence, what I was doing here. And what God told them is, those that bend down and just drink it, send them home. But those that take it in their hands and cup it and bring it up to their face and lap it like a dog, let them be your army. So with that, the 10,000 So it went 32,000, 10,000, shrinks to 300. God says, now you're ready. They go out, they annihilate the Midianites. It's incredible what you can do with God. So the key is, don't be afraid of failure in this world. The key is, align yourself with God and trust him for the consequences. That's the bottom line. That's why the psalmist says, some trust in horses and some trust in chariots, but we will trust in the name of the Lord our God. You trust in him, you don't have to fear failure or anything else, because you'll be right where he wants you to be. That's your video thought for the day.